So I was on Steam looking for something new to play and possibly make a video about when I stumbled upon a small sale on some indie games. If there's two things I love, it's women that look like Lois Lane from My Adventures with Superman and indie games. So I delved into the pool of curiosity to see what I could find in the waves of indie games. Finally, one caught my eye called Dungeons of Hinterberg. This is probably my favorite indie game of the year so far. As of writing this, the game has barely 100 reviews on Steam, and so I wanted to spread the word on this awesome game. Dungeons of Hinterberg, developed and published by Microbird Games, which was released on July 18 of this year, is a dungeon exploring, puzzle solving, action adventure game with aspects of a social game. A spike in tourism has explorers flocking to the village of Hinterberg and its magical dungeons full of monsters and alpine mythical creatures. From developer Microbird Games, Dungeons of Hinterberg is an action-adventure RPG set in idyllic Austrian Alps. Armed with a sword and a tourist guide, explore the beautiful surroundings and uncover the challenge hidden within its dungeons. Master magic, solve puzzles, slay monsters, and build relationships. All this and more await you in Hinterberg. So yeah, you play as this tourist named Luisa who heads to Hinterberg, which is a famous tourist spot due to there being the existence of magic in that area. Our life before we got here was that we were a lawyer looking for a way to break the cycle of our repetitive life. In this place, we meet people like Klaus, Alex, and others, who all have their stories and motives as to why they're here and who they are. Getting to know them allows you to build stronger relationships with them, which then benefits us later in the game. In this area, there's dungeons in which there's puzzles to solve, monsters to slay, and loot to collect. And the more you spend your vacation days here in Hinterberg, the more you discover about its residents, politics, and what's hiding in the shadows. I will not be spoiling any of the story because the story is just great with twists and turns. It doesn't feel so much of a Zelda-like story, but more of a drama told with aspects of a game like Zelda. The story has this sometimes feeling like if we're the bad guy or questioning our existence. And that's the first thing I wanted to point out about this game. The game's dialogue for a cute-looking game like this is not what you would entirely expect. Like I said, there's aspects of drama, existentialism, search of purpose, and clash of ideas and opinions. Every character here in this game is very fleshed out to be their own. As I sat here eating breakfast with another tourist, she tells me her likes and dislikes, her ideas, and even questioning why people come here. This game has a grasp on the idea that people come here to Hinterberg to be someone that they couldn't be before, to forget where they came from and focus on being a slayer and living their new part-time life here in Hinterberg. When I finished the game, I genuinely was sad to have to put down the game as a way to say goodbye to all the characters I got to meet. The game even rewards us for talking to and connecting with these people. It's not just for story and lore purposes, but when increasing your friendship with people, everyone gives you a certain boost or item that helps you with your progression in the game. So for those who don't care much about the socializing part of this game, they still have a reason to do so they can have the advantages in the fighting aspect of the game itself. When you're not in the town socializing, shopping, or relaxing, you are out in the 5 areas of the game with about each area having 7 dungeons you can explore. Your goal is to complete all dungeons in the game before you head back to your normal life. Each dungeon has the same premise. You fight monsters, use magic, solve puzzles, and reach the end to stamp your book of completion, and boom, you head back to your hotel where you spend the evening in town before you go to bed for the next day. The player is equipped with a sword as their primary weapon, magic castings which can change depending on what area you're exploring, and attack conduits which are also magic or special attacks that can be changed at will. The magic casting assigned to you by the area can be used in combat and are necessary to solve the puzzles in the dungeons. You can add enchantments to your swords which can have your sword give you special abilities like gain health when you slay a foe or something like a boost in critical attack. And attack conduits are special moves which you can find more of and swap them in your inventory to whichever ones you please. This game also does utilize changing of armor, but it doesn't visibly change your character's appearance. You can swap pieces of armor that you find on your journey to enhance your defense and even enchant them to be able to increase their stats. And you're also given something called charms, which are add-ons you can hold at a capacity and grant you more stats boosts depending on which ones you find. This allows for combat to be very versatile and super dynamic, seeing which spells, charms, and add-ons will vary amongst each player and their liking. Another cool thing about weapons and armor in this game is some of the more powerful weapons you find along your vacation slayaway are only available to be used at full potential depending on your social stats, which can only be increased by socializing with townsfolk, which is another means to encourage the player to interact with characters and form a bond with them. Combat is super smooth for me, but I do have 2 problems with this game's combat. At times, it feels a little too easy, because when I'm in higher dungeons, it's all the same enemies that you face in the beginning and middle parts of the game, no matter what areas you explore. They just have more health to them. I was expecting more variety to see. The monsters at times can be stunned, and so that allows for easy damage, but I noticed at times that even when the monsters aren't stunned, they just begin to stand still and do nothing. And it really throws me off as if they were just not trying to fight me like a second ago. It's more of a technical issue really than like an actual plan thing. The boss fights in these games are probably some of my favorite in the game so far. They are all super different, and I won't lie, I struggled a lot in one of them. When you're not fighting monsters, you are either enjoying the beautiful scenery from these very diverse areas, or solving the puzzles presented to you in every dungeon. Okay, Before I talk about the puzzles, I just want to add more to the graphics and looks of this game. This game is so soothing to my eyes, with its cell shading and soft pastel color palette. The areas, the town, the dungeons, they all have uniqueness to them, and I love exploring these areas. My favorite is probably Hinterberg because it's a snowy theme area and you get to traverse through there on a snowboard, and it's so fun, dude. The puzzles in this game are very cleverly thought out. I was trying to see if I could cheese any of them, and to my surprise, I wasn't able to. Some puzzles are pretty easy and satisfying to do, while others are a real thinker, and once you solve it, you get that feeling of, oh, and that's like what I love to see. The soundtrack for when you're not in a battle is just so relaxing to listen to. This game does a wonderful job at making you feel like you are at a vacation. This game was reviewed as being like a Zelda PC port, and I think that's a great way of looking at it, but it's like Breath of the Wild was more linear and had less annoying features like temperature, weight, and stamina. I still have to finish Breath of the Wild, but because of some of these annoying little things, I just couldn't. And that's where Dungeons of Hinterberg shines best for me. This game will take you about 12 to 18 hours to finish, and I think for 30 bucks, or if you get it on sale for cheaper, that's a really good time for you. It's also available on Xbox Game Pass, but I suggest you guys invest and support the creators by buying this game. I promise you won't regret buying it. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about this game. This game is awesome. I recommend you go play it. This video was a lot shorter than I thought it'd be, which is kind of cool because I can get this out faster. But if you guys do want more longer content, please just let me know. And let me know of any other things you want me to talk about. Any games, any films, any books maybe. I would love to talk about them. I would love to explore. But thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great day. And please subscribe and follow my Twitch.